Okay, that's right. Wet weather has dominated much of South Africa for today, and it's staying wet for the meantime. And the culprit for this is actually a weather system that's located to the north of us in Botswana. A tropical low-pressure system has slowly been gathering in intensity in the last few days, and our satellite imagery from late yesterday indicates that some intense thundershower extended southwards into Limpopo last night and into the early parts of this morning, and it really brought intense rainfall to the area. We're talking about more than 200 millimeters of rain for Thohoyandou and some of the surrounding areas, and resulted in flooding for some places. Things have quietened down for that region over the last few hours, but it has stayed wet on the Highveld. But we're currently monitoring these thunder showers that have popped up around the low pressure system on over our northern neighbours, and there are indications that some of this wet weather is going to be pushing southwards towards Limpopo once again overnight, so we will be monitoring that quite closely. Rainy conditions, as we've already mentioned, on the Highveld over the course of the last few hours, and over the central parts of South Africa we've also seen a few thunder showers developing. So we're going to continue seeing wet weather into this evening. Scattered showers and thunderstorms onto the Highveld. Gauteng, there is still a 60% chance, but much of that will be in the form of light rain or showery conditions, and thunderstorms into parts of the Northern Cape, as well as straddling the border with the Western Cape at the moment. And then, as I've already mentioned, we're monitoring those showers and storms to the north of us, potentially pushing down into Limpopo. So for that area we have given an 80% chance overnight and into the early parts of tomorrow. And there is also a watch in place for this area for the possibility of localized flooding taking place, mostly into the eastern and northern parts of Limpopo, but there's also a potential into some areas in the northwest. We've also had very wet weather taking place in that region over the last couple of hours. A broader view of what's happening over South Africa at the moment, and we also have a high pressure system that's ridging to the east of the country that's helping to bring in moisture into the interior. So two sources of moisture affecting South Africa, coming down from the north and pushing in from the Indian Ocean, allowing all this very wet weather to take place, and that continues into tomorrow with quite a lot of wet weather expected into the central parts, staying cloudy and cool on the Highveld with a few showers lingering for that region. And as mentioned, we could see some heavier rainfall into Limpopo, and a very stormy afternoon for your Friday for the Free State as well as parts of the Eastern Cape and the Northwest. The rainfall accumulation indicating the showers and storms that continue over the interior of the country overnight, and then as we head into tomorrow we see the heavier downpours that will be likely for some areas in the Northern Cape as well as the Free State and the Northwest. And take a look up in Limpopo, there we see also more wet weather for the areas that have already been affected by the intense rainfall events. Overnight temperatures staying quite high over the western parts of South Africa, while it will be a warm to cool evening for some areas in the east, especially on the high ground. Temperatures dropping below 15 for some places. And then into the afternoon it's going to be hot closer to the country's coastline as well as for the Northern Cape, into the mid-30s for some places, and it stays cool once again on the Highveld with very low temperatures for some places due to the cloud and rain that's expected. Saturday brings more thunder shower activity to the northern and eastern parts, including KwaZulu-Natal, and then on Sunday we'll see things starting to dry up a bit, especially in the central interior. Sunny for Bloemfontein, but we could still have a few thunderstorms for Limpopo and Mpumalanga. That's the story from the Weather Centre. I'll be back later with a detailed city forecast for tomorrow.